a fun little drop tutorial that's going to go from a flamingo down to an inside leg hang. Okay. For this one, you should be comfortable in your flamingo, which I'll break down getting into that. You should be comfortable in a cradle, and you should definitely be comfortable in an inside leg hang before trying this drop. You do not need a ton of height. This pole is only 8 feet, less than 3 meters, and I'm 5'8". So just have to be a little more careful when you have less space. Okay. So for this one, we're going to be starting this flamingo position, which is I like to go into it from a pole sit. If you have another way that you like to get into your flamingo, that's fantastic. Okay. So we're going to go from a pole sit, lean to the side, whichever is your top hip, that leg is going to bend. The foot does not go on the pole. The bottom leg, though, you are going to put the arch of your foot on the pole, which, depending on how comfortable you are getting into this, quite often I like taking the same hand as leg, put it down on the pole, and I'm going to bring that arch of my foot to the pole. So basically it ends up right in here, similar to how you would be in a cupid, except for on a cupid, we're out here, and this one, our chest is much more in, okay? And I'm leaning my chest down. Once your legs are in that position, your contact points are going to be this upper thigh, this lower-ish or downward leg. You've got a little bit of your thigh, but it's mostly that foot pushing into the pole. And then, of course, because I'm leaning forward and to the side, I also have a contact point here. Okay, so your three primary ones are going to be inside thigh, bottom of the foot, and that side. Your hands are not needed. But of course, as in all things, initially, make sure you feel safe. Number one priority, don't die. Use your hands as much as you need to in the beginning to make sure that you understand the mechanics of it. And then as you feel more and more comfortable, you can wean yourself off of your hands. Okay, so let's talk about what's happening from here. We're going to go from this flamingo. We're going to go to a cradle, sans hands, and then from that cradle to an inside leg hang. So there is a roll on this. So I'm going to take it up as high as I possibly can on my itty bitty pole. And we have our flamingo. Okay, from here, my bottom arm, I'm going to push to the pole. I'm not grabbing, I'm pushing. Top arm you don't actually need, but you can push. I'm going to let my bottom leg come out. I go through a cradle, rotate chest up here. And I use my hands on this one so I could slow it down even more for you. With this transition, just like getting into the flamingo, initially, if this is new to you and the first time through, I would recommend using all the hands. Then as you get more and more comfortable, you wean off it. So when I say no-handed, it doesn't mean your arm is not touching. It just means we're not grabbing, okay? I am pushing, and that's what helps me have the contact. If doing this on a taller pole and less risk of your head hitting the ground, you can 100% do it without using those arms and just roll. But by using that bottom arm and pushing it into the pole, it helps you control the descent more and keeps you safer doing it, especially if you have limited range of motion, don't have a crash mat, don't have a spotter. So as always, be safe. Okay, so if this is your first time doing through it, let's talk about what this is going to look like with the hands. Okay, so taking it to pole sit, bottom foot, here's our flamingo. Both hands on the pole. I'm going to release my bottom foot, go to my cradle, push with my top hand as I turn my chest up, drop the head, really important, so that you can get that inside leg hang to hook and then slide it all the way down. Okay, so if it's your first time through, that's a good way to figure out where our hips are going. Think about what's happening with our hip bones. They start forward, they turn to the side, and they finish up. That's the rotation of what's going on. If you do not rotate your hips all the way to up, you're going to have a really hard time hooking that knee. Okay, for that inside leg hang. Okay, so it's about pressure. You can have your legs straight, you can have your legs bent when you go through that cradle. Same when you transition the inside leg hang. It's going to vary. Bent legs, straight legs, when to straighten them, when to bend them. That's not the important part. The important part is your thighs coming in so that you can smush the pole between your chest, your lower abdomen, and your legs. Okay, so as that transition gets comfortable and you're like, okay, I see where everything is going, I'd like to try taking my hands off now. That top hand is not needed. But initially, instead of going from all the hands to none of the hands, if you'd like to take away one hand to start and then switch and go to the other hand, that's a great way to kind of ease yourself into this transition. Okay, so taking it back to our starting position, we're in our flamingo. I'm going to not hold with my top arm, cradle and drop. Okay, and I was very purposely keeping my hand away so that you could see it's not there. You could also have it touching if that feels more comfortable to you. Okay, so we started to wean our hands off. Bottom hand, when we're ready to take that one off. In the flamingo, arms are here. When I get ready to go to the cradle, I'm going to bring my forearm to the pole and I'm pushing it in. And what that does is it helps push the pole into this contact point. So from the flamingo, we had those contact points of inner thigh, bottom foot, hip. When I start to transition to the cradle, my foot's going to come off the pole. I take that spot instead with this arm as I transition from the foot to the hip. Okay. Then from there, from the hip to the leg hang. Okay. So now let's take both those handsies off. Back to our flamingo, my itty bitty pole. Hands, roll, and up. Okay. Something really important in this transition. And I find myself doing this, especially on the shorter pole height, because there's that back of my head thought that I might hit the back of my head on the floor, is what's really important is dropping your head. Okay. In a lot of pole moves, we have a tendency to keep our head up and want to see what's going on, or just sense of self-preservation, which is a good sense to have. I'm not saying get rid of that. But as you feel safer in this transition, make sure you drop your head. So something that I think about doing on this, especially if I'm on a taller pole and I don't have to worry about being so close to the floor, is from the flamingo, my head is here. When I go to the cradle, I consciously think about dropping my ear. And as I transition to the leg hang, I think about looking for whatever was on the wall behind me. Because the more you drop your head, the easier it's going to be to do that inside leg hang. If you do not drop your head, you better have some serious flexiness to get you into that inside leg hang. Okay, so this is a flamingo tumble drop to an inside leg hang. It can be a flat line or a standard inside leg hang. Okay, you can do it fast, you can do it slow, you can do it on spin, you can do it on static, depending on how comfortable you are making it fast, slow, what the effect you want it to have. As with all things, start gradual, work within your safety zone, use all the hands, the mats, the spotters to make sure that you can work on this transition safely. And as it starts to make sense in your body and brain, if you want to take it to the next step, then start weaning your hands off to make it even more frightening for your audience. So try this one out. Let me know how it goes. If you love this one, let me know in those comments below and let me know how you feel about drops. More drops, less drops. Oh no, not the drops. Please, all the drops. Drops Palooza. What are your feels on it? So have fun with this one. Try it out. Let me know.